Hello and welcome to a very special Warhammer Wednesday. The Warhammer community website has very recently put up some more pictures of the Blood Angels Primarch Sanguinius, along with all of his rules and things, his data sheet. So I thought it would be appropriate for this week's Warhammer Wednesday video to do the review of him. When he is released, which I'm assuming will be the 15th of March, he will cost you £80. Then, if you want the complete edition, and you want the scenic base, the diorama base, which I'm still waiting for, bearing in mind it's been over 5 weeks for this base, he will look like that, with this awesome demon on there. Comes in quite a few parts. And then, as you can see, he can just slot into the base. I've got part of the base here. This isn't mine, this is a fellow subscriber's, and yeah, he'll basically just slot in a little bit like that and have this massive base. And he works that way. He works, the pose works like that on the big base. Not so much like so, but still £125 for the full model with that scenic base. What we'll do is we'll have a hugely detailed, in-depth look at the model itself. Then we'll do some size comparisons, and then I'll go through those very magical rules that Warhammer community have released today. Let's have a bit of a look. Firstly, the wings. The wings are absolutely stunning. If I can show you some of the detail in there. You only get this kind of detail with the resin. There's no way you could get this in plastic. It's remarkable what they've done with these wings, and this model definitely lives up to the promise, the hype, in my opinion. As a child, I always thought, wow, who is this Sanguinius guy? Well, I better just take Dante because, you know, he's the next best thing. But comparing him to my metal Dante model is just an affront to the Emperor. But lovely, lovely wings. The model went together really, really well. There are some tricky parts. I will say, if you are a Patreon to the channel, I will have done a video of him already, and that's been up for quite a few days. Tricky parts were these Tarages. I've forgotten, I haven't got my instruction guide with me, but these flaily bits here, there's 6 of them. There's 3 there and 3 there, and they only go together in a certain way, so you've got to be super careful when you're cutting them out. Make sure you get the right ones. Obviously his one use, which is absolutely stupid, his one use Infernus pistol was tricky to fit in there, along with this ribbon thing, but the shield and the wreath were okay to fit. So was the spear. It was a bit wonky, but just use a hairdryer to iron that out. Yes, he's missing his left hand. Okay, hopefully you got this far into the video for me to just point that out. His left hand is in here, because there's no way of having him as a complete model with a scenic base without that hand detachable, kind of magnetized. They have put a cutout in there, so you can put a very small magnet in, which I plan on doing, and that's because the other hand is attached to the demon's horn. He's holding him as he's about to spear him or sword him or whatever. Anyway, you've also got the blade there. I think that's the Moon Silver blade, and then you've got the Encarmine blade, which is here. Moon Silver sword and Encarmine blade. They both do different sort of things, and I'll go through their rules later on in the review. But yeah, absolutely stunning. If we can just enhance, maximum enhancement, the detail on this stunning model. I've done my best to try and iron out all the little mold lines and things. I really have. The cloak is beautiful, this jaguar type leopard cloak. It's absolutely stunning. And then you can see the little pussy on his shoulder. The base is pretty nice too. You know, you've got a couple of skulls there, and clearly it fits in with the other base. You probably get a gap there and there, but a bit of green stuff and a bit of filing will see that through, and you're not really going to see that much. But a bit of green stuff will work that out, a bit of liquid green stuff I'll put in there before I even come close to spraying him. If you look at his head and his face, they have modelled him off of David. And look at the detail on the shoulder pauldrons. Absolutely remarkable. Yes, he's very expensive at £80, but he's a Primarch, so you're only going to get one, and they've done him justice, I think. Yes, his leg is a bit of an awkward pose, but it makes sense with the bigger base. And it's so cool that he's essentially only being rested by his cloak and the sword. The sword a little bit, but it's just the cloak. That's the only thing that's holding the entire model up. The whole torso, the big wings. It's remarkable when you think of it. And the spear itself, look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful spear of Telesto. Remarkable. Lots of detail, very beautiful model. Let's just have a quick look at the Blade End Carmine. You can see there you've got his right hand nestled in this handguard, and some spikes to it, and even a jewel in there as well. I think it sucks that Forge World in the rules have said his chosen armament must be declared before the game begins and clearly shown on the model. It sucks that they put that little end bit and clearly shown in the model. What I might do is magnetize his blade as well. Leave that on there, but just magnetize the blade so I can alternate between them both. We'll see. I think I can possibly do that without breaking the spear. Okay, let's have a look at some size comparisons. So clearly he's not as tall as a Warlord Titan, but how does he fare against other Primarchs? Well, you know me, I have two other Primarchs. Mortarion, which is, yeah, way bigger than Sanguinius. I don't have him on me, but I do have Robute Guilliman, which is another Loyalist Primarch. Hasn't been altered, I say, much, other than his armour. And it works quite well. They are pretty much in proportion as Primarchs go. Robute's got this big massive armour on him, but head-wise sort of works, chest-wise, torso, even shoulder pauldron size, it all works. And the Emperor's sword is just absolutely remarkable. Comparing that to the spear, it's, well, I'll say almost as long as a spear. Incredible sword. It just goes to show you how powerful that is. So yeah, compared to Robute, yeah, he's a nice winged angel. Compared to, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just will, Marnius Calgar, who is, yeah, a fair bit smaller, and he's quite a big chap. There you go, next to Marnius. And then next to a normal Space Marine, yeah, much bigger. I mean, even comparing him to there, the Space Marine sort of comes up to his waist. It's pretty hilarious. And then an Intercessor, yeah, almost goes up to his chest. But it just goes to show you just how big these Primarchs are. And I'm so looking forward to the Emperor model. Ridiculous. That will probably be the next Horus Heresy character I get, the Emperor, if and when they make his model. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of his rules. And I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I am. I'm comparing him to Horus Heresy Book 7, Leman Russ Primarch, just to give you an idea of where he stands in the Primarch pecking order, as it were. Sanguinius, the Great Angel, the brightest one, Master of Hosts, Primarch of the Blood Angels. He will cost you 485 points. Nearly 500 points for him. How does that compare with Leman Russ? Well, Leman Russ is cheaper at 455, but you really want to be taking the two wolves, Frecky and Gary, or Freaky and Gary. I call them Frecky and Gary, or Frank and Gary, whatever you want to pronounce them as. They're an extra 100 points, so technically he's 555 points for him and his pups. But let me go through Sanguinius' stat line, and I'll compare it to Leman's. So Sanguinius has a weapon skill of 9, ballistic skill of 5, strength 6, toughness 6, 6 wounds, initiative 7, 6 attacks, leadership 10, and a save of 2+. That's almost the same as Lehman Ross, except Lehman Ross just has a better ballistic skill. That's the only difference there. Same number of attacks, same leadership, same save, and so on. His unit type is a jump infantry character. War gear, the Regalia, or Regalia, Resplendent, Great Wings, the Blade Encarmine, or the Spear of Telesto and Moonsilver Blade, Infernus, and Frag Grenades. Special rules: Primarch, independent character, Eternal Warrior, Fear, Adamantium Will, Fleet, Fearless, It Will Not Die, Master of the Legion, Precision Strike, Precision Shot, Sire of the Blood Angels, Angelic Presence, Sky Strike, very bulky. So, just a couple of special rules then. He may be chosen as a Lord of War choice for a Loyalist, Blood Angels, Legions, Astartes army. Here are his abilities then. Sire of the Blood Angels. Sanguinius gains +1 initiative and +1 attack in the first turn of any combat. So he's getting 7 attacks at initiative 8. While Sanguinius is present on the battlefield, all friendly jump infantry units with the Legions Astartes, in brackets Blood Angels, special rule, may choose to use their jump packs in both the movement and assault phases. Awesome. So Sire of the Blood Angels, very, very good there. Angelic Presence. Any friendly units within 3 inches of Sanguinius gain +D3 to the wound value used to calculate if the unit has won a close combat. That's pretty good. Statistically, you're going to get, 2 extra wound values on the close combat. It still could make the difference. The Regalia Resplendent provides a 2+ armor save and a 4+ invulnerable save, and allows him to reroll any failed invulnerable saves on a turn in which he charges. They've put in which he charge, but S's do exist. So that's pretty good that he can reroll the 4+ invulnerables when he charges, and more often than not he's probably going to be charging. Great Wings. Sanguinius may always use his jump pack, representing his Great Wings, in both the movement and assault phases, so he can always use that. When Sanguinius resolves Hammer of Wrath attacks, he does so at strength 10, AP 2. When deploying via Deep Strike, Sanguinius and any unit he accompanies does not scatter. That is horrific. Any unit and him, they won't scatter. Sky Strike. At the end of any movement phase in which this model has moved using the jump pack rules, nominate one enemy unit not locked in combat that the model has moved over that turn. The unit takes 1 hit. If the unit is an enemy flyer in zoom mode or an enemy swooping monstrous creature, it instead takes D3 hits. These hits are resolved at strength 6, AP 2, using random allocation and ignores cover special rules. Against vehicles, these hits are resolved against the target's side armour. That's pretty good that he can have this Sky Strike. Any enemy units that aren't locked in combat and he moves over them, they take that hit. So, his weapon, his pistol, the Infernus. It's a range 18 inches, strength 8, AP 1, assault 2, 1 use. Now that does suck, but he does have precision shots. The range is alright, but remember he can move about with that, jump pack with his wings. And it's ridiculous AP 1 and Assault 2, so that's good. The Blade Encarmine. Sanguinius may be equipped with either the Blade Encarmine or the Spear of Telesto and Moonsilver Blade. His chosen armament must be declared before the game begins and clearly shown on the model. Like I said, probably best to buy some magnets. So the Blade Encarmine. It's a strength +1, so that means it's strength 7. AP 2, melee, rampage, and shred. Pretty good, Blade Encarmine, pretty good. However, you've then got the Spear of Telesto and the Moonsilver Blade. So the Spear of Telesto, its strength is +3. That'd be when he charges, and then every turn after that it'll just be the strength of the user. So that's still strength 9 when he goes in. AP is 1, but then after that it's AP 2. It's still pretty good. It's melee, two-handed, instant death, mastercrafted, and Wrath of Angels. So, once per game in the shooting phase, in lieu of making any other shooting attacks, Sanguinius may hurl the Spear of Telesto with the force of a bolt of angelic lightning, using the profile below. Should he choose to do this, he may not make further use of the Spear of Telesto for the remainder of the game. So when he throws it, it's a 12-inch range, not too bad. Strength 7, but it is AP 1. It's Assault 1, Instant Death again, Armor Bane, and Wrath of Angels. Wrath of Angels. For every successful wound roll of a 6 made with the Spear of Telesto, that unit suffers an additional wound using the same weapon profile. So you can get double instant death when he throws it. That's like him hurling it and it impaling a Space Marine or whoever, and then going through the one behind it. Anyway, that's just ridiculous. But then after he's thrown it, he can't get it back. So it's not like a God of War thing where he can just, you hold the LB button or whatever it is, and I can't remember which button it is, where you just hold a button on your controller and then he, gets that axe back automatically. The Moon Silver Blade then. Its strength is a user, still 6, AP 3, it's not that good. Melee, Mastercrafted, Blind, Duelist's Edge, and Moon Silver. Now this is another new little rule. So Moon Silver, any wound caused against a model with a demon, Demon of the Runestorm, or Psyker special rules is instead counted as 2 wounds. Wounds caused in excess of the model's remaining wounds do not spill over to other models. That's pretty good. Good against Psykers. AP 3, not the best though. You really want to be using that spear. The Blade and Carmine is nice, but I would have liked to see more rules, a little extra ability or something for the Blade and Carmine, rather than just being Strength 7 AP 2, Rampage and Shred. I would have liked something extra, because the spear seems to be where it's at. I always imagined Sanguinius with the sword or double swords or something like that, not a spear, but there we go. And that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm misinformed with that. So as you can see, he's pretty decent. Both his angelic presence, the Sire of the Blood Angels, his great wings, the ability he can, have this sky strike as he's going along, and his weapons are good too. Along with all the other special rules that you get with a Primarch. Now comparing him to Leman Russ. Leman Russ has the Sire of the Space Wolves as well, similar kind of thing. He has the Sword of Balin Knight, which is the same strength of him, which is the 6th. Melee, Shred and Sever Life. Basically, that can just generate more wounds. And his Axe of Hellwinter, that doesn't have any special rules, but it just bumps his strength up to 8. And it's got Melee, Sunder and Mastercrafted. The Scorn Spitter, which is the bolt gun, is quite nice because it's Assault 3 Rending, Strength 4 AP 3 weapon, but it's only 12 inches, which is quite poor. So look, comparing what Leman has weapon-wise compared to Sanguinius, I think Sanguinius has him over the edge with that spear. But if he just had the swords, then I think Ross would take it. But what Ross has is, I love how these Primarchs have their special kind of like little funky armour. The armour of Elavagar, which is Ross's armour, has a 2+ normal and a 4+ invulnerable, but then it gets a 3+ invulnerable against Flamer, Melter and Plasma weapons, and also enemies suffer a -1 penalty to hit in assault, but increases to -2 if they've been in base contact for more than a turn of combat. I think that's very decent, and it is a strong contender to being able to re-roll invulnerable saves. However, that's kind of like an accumulative armour buff, whereas Sanguinius he just gets that 2+ and a 4+ invulnerable, and then you can re-roll the invulnerable saves, but only on the turn he charges. So Ross beats him on the armour side of things, and then you've got Ross's Wolves as well. So I would like to see them have a little scrap, a little friendly, with wooden Spear of Telestos and wooden axes. That would be quite cool. Maybe that will happen one day on the channel, who knows. But as for now, I'll stop comparing him to Ross, because if I don't start including other Primarchs, I think a few people might get upset. So we'll leave it there. So in summary, he's a fantastic, beautiful model, worth the money in my opinion, especially if you want a showcase model for your entire Blood Angels force. He's been a long time coming, but I think the wait is definitely worth it, and I look forward to the other Primarchs that Forge World have yet to release, and in particular the Emperor. I hope this review's done him justice. I hope I've managed to get it out in time before he's available to everybody, and I can't recommend this model enough. It's absolutely stunning, and he's my first Forge World Primarch model, and I'm really, really happy with him. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.